In week 4, you created a PICO question. In that, the I, or intervention, is going to be the practice you're looking at for the assignments going forward throughout this semester. So evidence-based practice involves finding enough evidence to show why a practice either is in place or should be put in place. So again, that's your intervention from your PICO question. Before anything is ever implemented, it's good to make sure that there's some sort of evidence that shows that it may be worth the time, resources, money, whatever it is, to show that there's a plausible belief that it could be successful. So this is the opportunity where you're going to go in and you're going to find this evidence related to your practice, which again is that intervention that you're looking at. Always look through the unit outcome and was the assignment description. If we scroll on down to the directions, you'll see that this guides you through a fairly basic search. If you are a hybrid student, we'll be doing this face-to-face in class. You're encouraged to bring a laptop, smartphone, tablet, something along those lines to do some of the search. But for those of you who are online, you'll be completing all of this in Canvas. You're going to go into the library.weber.edu page, and you do need to be logged in for that, and doing a search down through databases. Now, it may show up as Academic Search Premier or Academic Search Ultimate, depending on the version that is showing up with your browser and in different areas that you look. You do need to go in and do an advanced search, and then these criteria here make your search a little easier. You'll notice that one of these says full text. If you are doing this last minute, you will absolutely need full text because you need articles where you can read the entire thing and not just the abstract. Or you're going to kind of hit a dead end sooner than later when you do more with these articles in the future. If you've allowed yourself some time, which hopefully you have, and you find a great article that is not showing in full text, you can contact the librarian for the School of Nursing, who is Jason Francis, through that same Weber Library page, and he can usually track down just about anything for you, usually in under 24 hours. On the weekends, sometimes it's a little bit longer. You need to go in and enter your Boolean phrases. So, for example, if I was using the week 4 example about the walking school bus for low-income elementary school children, I could search walking school bus and attendance and health outcomes, not high school. Something along those lines. Now, when you do your search, if you end up with almost no articles, you really need to expand it. So let's say that in the example I just gave, instead of having all of those identifiers, that I instead look at, okay, I want to find a few articles that have to do with elementary and attendance and health. And see, do I find anything there? I may have to do a separate search that has to do with walking school bus and attendance and elementary school. Or I could do walking school bus and attendance, not junior high, anything like that. So it's not that one search will necessarily produce all of your articles, but if you end up with a very long list, you need to put in a few more Boolean phrases to help narrow that down. If you end up with no articles or only one or two, then finding ways to do kind of paralleling searches would be helpful. Not every article you find will 100% overlap with your topic, but you're going to kind of layer those. So for example, if I'm looking at ones that connect attendance with health, that's great. Then I can look for some that connect walking school bus with attendance. That's great. I can also look at attendance, low-income schools, see where I can find a need there for an intervention. So these different searches may need to take place. Once you do your searches, you're going to go through and answer a few different prompts. Now, as you look down, it says, take the quiz. Again, this isn't a timed quiz that's automatically scored like your practice activities that automatically populate your answers, or sorry, your scores. But what it is going to do is take you to a form where if you are on a tablet or you're on a phone, this makes it a little easier, regardless of whether you're on a laptop, computer, or anything, you'll be answering the same prompts this way. So you do need to answer the following. What other interdisciplinary databases may be appropriate to search to find evidence for your PICO question? So for the example question, I may be able to search in some nursing journals, but it may also be appropriate to search in education journals, or even sociology journals, social work journals that have to do with low-income populations, that type of thing. So, what other interdisciplinary databases could be searched for? Also, what Boolean phrase did you use, or phrases, if you had to do more than one? You will include this part right here, this content, in your final paper that's due week 12, and we'll talk more about that when you get to that actual paper. Then, what other reputable sources could be used to find evidence regarding your PICO question? As you saw in your book, peer-reviewed journal articles are not the only place to find evidence when you're basing your practice, so please include at least 3 reputable websites. If you look at the instructions on the actual page, most of those end in .gov, .edu, those type of endings. A lot of .com ones can be less than reputable. So you need to make sure that you include 3 websites with links, as well as one expert. If you know a specific name, you can include that. Don't just put, like, their name is Brian, but make sure you put their role in like that. If you don't have a specific name, you can just put the role. So maybe I could contact a superintendent over public schools as one of my people. So again, we're looking at the multiple forms of evidence you can gather for evidence-based practice. So once you complete those prompts, you will submit, and at that point, your instructor will be able to go in and give you a score.